Today I'm going to be doing a wedding on the Nikon Z5 II and probably two lenses. At least I think going into the wedding day, that's what it's going to be. I do have my Tamron 35-150, which is usually my go-to ceremony lens, but I think that today I'm going to spend most of my day on the 24-70 f2.8s as well as the 85 f1.8. I love the 24-70 f2.8s probably the most. I'm going to say it's within my top two favorite Nikon lenses. The second one being either the 50-1.2 or the 35-1.2, probably the 50-1.2. I'd say those are my favorite two lenses for the Nikon system, but the 24-70 is obviously a lot more versatile than the 50-1.2. Also within this video, I'm going to be building a design for their wedding album with Fundy Designer, so stay tuned for that. Fundy is an incredible software tool for building albums in a pretty automatic fashion, especially if you're building with the same manufacturer over and over again. It's really, really easy. Plus, you also get options to do things like wall art and thank you cards, as well as slideshows for your clients for any sort of IPS that you might be doing. Today, the weather has been a bit questionable. We've been nervous all week. I have not asked whether we're doing the ceremony inside or outside because I didn't want to add any additional stress to the day. I know where everything's happening. The outside ceremony location is very, very easy, especially in overcast conditions. It's going to be amazing. It's a little bit cold though, so I don't know. Inside is a lot more challenging. It's in a darker environment, very wood toned. You can kind of bounce flash if you want, but I find using flash during a ceremony is just really distracting and I would rather not. You can get by with ambient, so that is likely what I will be doing. The Nikon Z5 II is my main camera for the day, and the Nikon Z6 III is my secondary camera for the day. I love them both, and I would say the Z5 II is just the absolute best deal that you could get in wedding photography right now if you are looking for a wedding photography camera. The reason that I also have the Z6 III is because most of my days are hybrid photo video days. There is a course for members called the Taylor Jackson method if you're interested in getting it and seeing how I do both photography and video coverage as one person. But most of my wedding days are video as well as photography, so I like that the Z6 III can do 4K 60 with no crop, whereas the Z5 II, you can do 60p, but it gives you a crop. So your lens, if you're shooting with a 35mm prime and then you go into 4K 60, all of a sudden you're at like 50mm, which is a bit disorienting. So I use the Z6 III when I'm on a photo video day, and then I use the Z5 II as a main camera on a photography only day because the sensor is a little bit better. I'm sure that you've seen the reports that the dynamic range of the Z6 III. In my personal experience, I've never had any issues at all, but it is a little bit less than the Z5 II. There are some benefits to the Z6 III versus the Z5 II when it comes to technical, but overall I would say that the autofocus performs pretty much the exact same in my experience, and also the exact same as the Z8 and the Z9. I am sure that if in some sort of closed test that the Z8 and the Z9 are going to outperform the Z5 II and the ZF, but in my personal experience, I would say that they're pretty darn close. I was really surprised when Nikon released the Z5 II. I figured that they were going to leave something out that would make us have to go up in the product stream, and as it turns out, really, unless you want that 4K 60, you don't have to, which is pretty cool. I'm also working on a new edit for my Imagine profile. The indoor shots I think I'm happy with, but the outdoor shots you might see they're a little bit warm. They're not official finals, just a work in progress. And once I do actually finalize my profile, I'll be giving it out for free. So if you've signed up ever in the past with my affiliate link, you'll get access to it. It'll send you an email. Or if you sign up with the link in the description below, one, you get a free 1,500 edits with Imagine. That's who all of these images are edited through. But two, you also will get that profile as soon as I release it. So it'll just end up in your email box. So sign up with that link, get your free edits, get started with Imagine, especially right now. It's hopefully before you're really bogged down in your wedding season. And you'll be able to, what Imagine is basically just automatic editing for your wedding photos, and it is amazing. But yeah, get started with it before you get too crazy busy, because once you get crazy busy and you have a huge backlog of images, you're not going to be too inspired to learn a new software to add time to that. You're just going to be digging yourself out every day. But if you use it, you don't have to dig yourself out. You're just going to have a great season. So the Z5 II is amazing, but the Nikon ecosystem for lenses is also quite incredible. They have released, I would say, something for pretty much anything that we would need in weddings at this point. One thing that I do hope is that they start releasing more small lenses like the 40mm f2 and the 28, I think it's 2.8. Those are both great form factor lenses, where the 1.8 lenses are amazing in quality and the 1.4s as well. But the overall footprint of them is kind of large, so I am hopeful that Nikon has heard us. I think collectively that's something that we're all hoping for. So I'm hoping that they've heard that, and that there are smaller lenses in the mix for the future. You know what I would really love? One of the slide zooms, like the old-timey slide zooms for SLRs. All I wanted to do is 35 and 85 though. Or you can do like the Leica triumvirate, I think, that does 28, 35, 50. That'd be pretty cool too. Just a note here, Hamilton, Ontario, where I am, has somehow won the award of Waterfall Capital of the World. And I guess they kind of win it on a technicality that there's waterfalls within the city limits, and I don't think that there's a minimum height for a waterfall. I was just in Iceland for the week with Gabe McClintock. That video is coming to the channel soon, so subscribe and like this video if you like this video so far. But I would say that they're probably the waterfall capital of the world, maybe, or somewhere, anywhere else other than Hamilton, Ontario. There's not even a waterfall on this property. Back to the video. Now the question of megapixels. Are the megapixels of the Z5 II enough? I think so. There are times that I like to go into APS-C crop mode, or DX mode, I guess, on Nikon. And that means that you're only getting maybe like 12 megapixels from those files, which is fine, I think, for documentary style images, maybe a few close-ups. Essentially, you're just cropping in your camera. You can undo it in post if you desire. I'm doing it because I automate all my post-production, and I should get it as close to correct, at least crop-wise, in camera. Imagine we'll straighten and whatnot, but it won't crop exactly as I would have. So to summarize, do you need 50 megapixels in your wedding photography camera? I do not believe so. And I am happy to have some additional card space and hard drive space as well, rather than bigger megapixels. Now let's go into Fundy and quickly design an album from the images that you're seeing in this video. If you're not familiar with Fundy, it does a lot of things. I primarily use it for albums, but you can also use it for wall art. You can ask your clients for a photo of the space they want to put prints in. You can make a mock-up. If they can visualize that art in their house, they're a lot more likely to buy it. You can also make thank you cards, and it comes with built-in templates, and every couple is probably getting thank you cards, so why not add it as a service that you can help with and make a little bit more money doing. Albums though. So you can set up a template for the book company that you usually use, or if you don't have a book company yet, Graphy is a great option. Import your images and click the auto build button. In a few seconds, it will give you a really solid layout to start from. While it is an automatic build, it is taking into account a lot of parameters like the look of scenes, the timestamps the photos are shot at, as well as if you've added stars to images, they will be prioritized in different ways, both for albums as well as wall art and thank you cards. The auto build is going to get you 90% of the way there, or maybe even a little bit more. From there, you go in and you refine. You can change out images, recrop, recenter, or add more images to spreads. The layout button has a lot of different layouts you can select from, or if you prefer to do a full manual build, it's also very easy. You just drag the images onto the page that you want, and the suggested layout will auto create. And you can always customize anything that's auto built. I'll put a link down below if you want to get started with Fundy. It makes albums, wall art, thank you cards, and IPS slideshows super easy. I'll also put a link to a full video about Fundy in the description if you want to go a little bit more in depth, as well as some suggestions on how Fundy will actually help make you more money. Photographers are actually making an extra $10,000 or $100,000 more per year by offering products, but it's not as simple as just saying that I have albums on sale now. More about that in the other video. Now moving into the ceremony. This is when the profile I'm working on gets a little spicy. So I'm working on it. Skin tones are good. Overall exposure of the background, I feel like I'm still massaging. It'll do background masking if you desire. And I'm trying to find the balance that works and makes things feel natural, but doesn't make it feel like people have been copy and pasted and just stuck on a scene. For the ceremony, I'm going to be shooting two cameras. So I have the 85 on my arm on the Z6 III. And that will be a few images during the ceremony. I really love the 85 1.8S lens. I am kind of at the crossroads here. So I love the 51.2, but it's so heavy, and my brain doesn't really exactly agree with the 50mm focal length. The 85 1.2 is also great, but it's even heavier and larger, and I just don't use an 85 enough on the day anymore to necessitate that. So I think that I'm going to be getting rid of my 51.2 and just kind of migrating back to the 35-85 prime combo, and then likely the 35 to 150 Tamron for most ceremonies still. It's specifically helpful for me doing hybrid photo video coverage so that I can keep everything in one camera and I know exactly where my settings are. When I'm using two cameras, if I have a little bit of time, it's totally fine. but if I am in a faster paced environment, say the couple is walking down towards me at the end of the aisle, and I want to switch cameras, but then also get photo and video from both of those cameras, it becomes very difficult. If I just use the 35 to 150 all ceremony, it makes my life really happy from a photo video perspective. Today we're only doing photography, which is relaxing in my mind. And it's also the reason that I went for the 24 to 70 because I know that I'm going to need the 85, especially for close-ups during the ceremony. So I will be using both cameras, and for video it's fine and it's possible, but it's just not my specific choice. And you'll learn all about that if you do sign up to the member site. 50% off coupon down below, and you get instant access to it. So you sign up for $30, 100% money back guarantee, cancel at any time, and you get access to all of my courses as well as my presets too. That offer does go away at the end of June though, so get in before then. Now we're moving into cocktails, and Montana is my second photographer of the day, and she's gonna go in basically any groups of people that are hanging out having a nice time. I'm just gonna ask them if they want a picture, and then usually that spawns a few people saying, hey, can I have a picture with my family or my partner? And we're happy to do that. The way my packages work is that the couple basically gets any of the images that are good. They have a full release on them, or at least to print them and to post them on social media. They can't resell them, I don't think, as stock images, but other than that, they're welcome to do what they want. I know there's different ways to run your business and there's different ways to make money. That's the one that I have chosen. I also really like this little portrait here. Good light. I do my best to get a wide room shot, and sometimes you get that, sometimes you don't. Today we almost got it. There was a few distracting things in the foreground. That's why my framing is a little weird, but I think I hit it. And then 85mm 1.8 for candids. I am happier doing this style of candid and not approaching people and just lurking around, seeing who's smiling and going and hanging out with them, as long as they're in good light. If they're in bad light, they gotta move. I'll wait till they move. I'm setting up an off-camera flash here, just the little Godox EX3, I believe, and the V100 for Nikon. And it's a pretty simple setup. I'm typically, I would say, on-camera flash most of the time. Today I'm going off-camera just for the first dance. I'm gonna do a few test shots here of whoever happens to be on the dance floor. And that looks pretty darn nice, I think. I don't like to go full off-camera flash for first dances unless it's absolutely necessary. So I'm gonna give them a variety of different images, from ones shot with ambient to a direct side light to maybe a bounce light. You can usually get through maybe 2 setups, 3 setups in a first dance if I'm not also doing video. If I'm also doing video, usually I just find whatever the best one is and I just shoot that and then switch to video. At this point of pretty much every wedding day, an 85mm prime becomes my main lens. I like to stay out of the way as best I can, and 85 1.8 allows me to, there's really no limit to how low the light can get. If people can physically see, I'm gonna be fine. And overall, the look and the feeling of the lens, I just like a lot. If I was to be doing a 2-lens kit and that's all I had budget for, I would say an 85. It doesn't have to be this one. You can adapt one through the FTZ adapter if you want, save some money. But I would also say having something like a 24 to 70 or the 28 to 75 f2.8 G2 Tamron lens is also a great option. And that lens begins at 28, so you don't have anything wider than that if you were to go with that 2-lens kit. So I might say if you are on an FTZ adapter, pick up a wider lens, maybe one of the old 20s or something, just in case you get pushed into a situation that you need it. I would say it's pretty rare for me to need anything wider than even a 35, but every now and then it does happen and you got to be prepared. I would also say that for me at least, creatively, I don't really go towards super wide angle lenses. There are some environments, some churches or some venues that I'm going to get into that I know a super wide looks really good, but I would say for the majority of my weddings, a 35 as the widest I am very, very happy with. And for a day that 3 days ago it said it was going to rain all day, we got a very, very beautiful sunset. And it's actually been a minute since usually I'm in a valley or shielded in some way, and last light is a lot closer to maybe 3 hours before sunset rather than actually at sunset. And today was really nice to actually get the sun on the horizon like this, and the lens handled it so well. Makes that really nice 3-dimensional wraparound light, and I am happy with this 85. And my sunset session, or sometimes it's just an evening, we just go out for a little walk. I usually say it's going to be about 10 minutes, and I kind of gauge it with the couple, whether they're looking for something efficient to get back to the reception, or if they actually welcome the break and they want to slow down a little bit. I will completely customize this portion of the photography experience to go with whatever I think the couple's feeling at this point. I think it's also important to talk to the venue as well and figure out where they're at in service. If they were just about to call a speech, probably don't take the couple away for 10 or 15 minutes, but usually you figure that out before dinner actually starts. So talk to your venue coordinators, your wedding coordinators, and find a good slot of time that works for everyone. Going back into the venue, it's kind of still ambient light out, so there's an awkward period of time, which is right maybe about 5 minutes from now, where it's going to be blue hour outside but incandescent inside, and there's going to be a really, really strong contrast. Sometimes that looks really good, sometimes it's not the look that you desire, and I'll overpower the incandescent lights inside with flash and just make it look natural to the venue. But we had desserts, and then when we came back to the podium, it was nighttime, which is fine by me. Ambient wise, I am happy with that. I think it looks pretty darn nice. Maybe a little green. Again, still working on that profile. Coming soon. If you do sign up for my Imagine affiliate link, you get 1,500 free edits. And also, when that profile is released, it will end up in your email box. And that's all for today. Links down below to everything I talked about, including Fundy. If you want to build some albums real quick, check them out. And if you have any questions about anything at all that I mentioned in this video, feel free to comment down below. There's another video on the screen right here if you want to go to another full wedding day.